It's 11:40 p.m. and you know what that means. It's One Wellness Nerd Out time! We never forget about you guys. Today is no different. Happy One Wellness Nerd Out time, you guys. And today we're going to be talking about testosterone a little bit more. We've been talking about it for a few days here. And we're going to focus on diet and lifestyle changes that can naturally help to boost your testosterone levels. So without further ado, let's get into it. So where we'll start is with lifestyle more so, and then we'll move into diet. We'll talk about a bunch of foods and diet in general, right? And we talk about lifestyle. Getting a lot of sleep is a big one. Getting a lot of sleep and having low anxiety, as low amounts of sleep and high amounts of anxiety have been linked to increased cortisol levels. And cortisol, our stress hormone as we know it, is no bueno for testosterone production, because cortisol binds to the same receptors as testosterone, and so it inhibits testosterone's binding and hence function. All right. Now another big one we have is exercise. So when we talk about exercise, in particular, it has been shown that compound exercises, or compound lifts, we could say, have been shown to boost testosterone. And a compound lift is something that requires more than one muscle group. So we're talking things like squats or deadlifts or sprinting, for example. All right. And again, these compound lifts especially have been shown to boost testosterone levels. All right. Now, before we start talking about diet, I just want to say, when we think about lifestyle and diet in general, right, in terms of boosting testosterone, well, in general, having a healthy diet and lifestyle would bode well for this, right? This purpose, of course, and many other things, obviously. But when we think of a healthy lifestyle and a healthy diet, what kind of comes to mind? And for me, what comes to mind is living naturally, doing things that evolutionarily we have been doing as hunter-gatherers for a very long time, right? And so, you think about getting out in the wild, and what are you going to be doing, right? You're going to be hunting for big game, right? And small game too, but you're going to eat a lot of lean meats, right? You're going to eat a lot of fish. You fishing, you're going to, if you have sugar, it's going to usually come from greens or something they could find like honey, right? Or, fruits, right? Like pomegranate, things like that. And we'll talk about why these foods boost testosterone here in a second. But, to kind of get this point across, it's relatively simple. You don't have to memorize anything about any particular food or lifestyle. Just think about what they were doing when you're hunting. What are you doing? You're sprinting and chasing something, right? What else were we doing? Well, we were trying to reproduce all the time, right? So things that would boost libido as well, things that would improve blood flow, right, to help combat things like ED, right? Stuff like that. So, having said that, as what I think is a functional premise for the remainder of our discussion, when we talk about diet in general, well, foods that are high in protein, foods that are high in unsaturated fats, and they're healthier fats, all right, and low amounts of sugar, all right. Sugar's been shown to lower testosterone levels, all right. High amounts of sugar in the blood, again, have been shown to decrease testosterone levels. Now, when we talk about our lean meats, well, yeah, we have our, there's a bunch, but, fish, right? Lean pork chops, venison being a couple other examples. Again, these are the types of things, you'd hunt a deer in the wild and eat it, right? So it makes sense, as, we talked about before, you don't have to memorize anything, right? I want you to think for yourself here at When Wellness and be able to apply that thought process to what is generally healthy for you. That's the most important thing, all right? So, when we talk about foods that are high in healthy unsaturated fats. Well, we're going to have our nuts and our seeds, right? Things like that. We're also going to have fish, right? So all that kind of good stuff. And we should say in the wild, what else can we do? We extract things from animals like milk or eggs, right? For example. So, having said that, when we talk about a couple foods in particular, well, we said, let's start here, because we said that high amounts of sugar in the blood have been shown to lower testosterone levels. But there are a few foods that contain some sugar that we would, again, find in the wild that can help to boost them. And one of them is honey. And honey, because it contains high levels of the element boron, which has been shown to boost testosterone. And honey has also been shown to boost nitric oxide production by up to 50%. And that's in, I believe it was 4 teaspoons of honey. Teaspoons or tablespoons, I think it was teaspoons of honey, have been shown to boost nitric oxide production by up to 50%. And what is nitric oxide responsible for? Nitric oxide improves blood flow, right? It's a vasodilator. It gets more oxygen and nutrients to the tissues in that blood, right? And so, having said that, what's another food that can increase nitric oxide production, right? Well, we know that the nitric oxide pathway goes L-citrulline to L-arginine to nitric oxide, right? And from beginning to end in conversion. And the best player we can count on here is L-citrulline, because citrulline has a lower first pass metabolism than does arginine. Not to mention arginine promotes the production of arginase enzyme that breaks down arginine. So we actually might get less nitric oxide over time. It's significantly less than if we had just had citrulline, right? Because citrulline, when we say it has a lower first pass metabolism, well, what we mean is less citrulline gets degraded when we ingest it before it can reach tissues and have its function, and have that function in our circulatory system of vasodilation, improving blood flow, right? And so a food that is high in citrulline, watermelons, they're another one. So, when we talk about, improving blood flow, well, it kind of goes hand in hand, with being an aphrodisiac and increasing your testosterone, right? The two are pretty closely interrelated, right? And it makes sense because we talked about what we do in the wild, what would we be wanting to do in the wild, right? And even still, reproduce, right? So it makes sense that the two would be intimately connected, all right? Being aphrodisiac and things that would generally boost testosterone. So a couple other things that have a little bit of sugar that we would find in the wild that could still boost testosterone are pomegranate. One is pomegranate because it contains high levels of antioxidants, and hence it's been shown to increase testosterone levels. Now, another one are red grapes. Red grapes, and why? Well, because red grapes contain the very potent antioxidant resveratrol, and as we've talked about on When Wellness in the past, right? Resveratrol having this potent antioxidant capacity, it's cardioprotective, neuroprotective, all these great things, right? Of course, good for brain health in general, right? Stuff like that. But it's also an increaser of testosterone, all right? And it's been shown that 500 milligrams of resveratrol, that is, something that you could find in 5 to 10 grams of red grape skin, for example, because you're like, what is 500 milligrams of resveratrol? Well, albeit it's in both the skin of green and red grapes, there's more resveratrol in red grapes. And so 5 to 10 grams of red grape skin, again, have been shown to increase testosterone levels. All right. Even has resveratrol been shown to improve sperm motility. So to get those sperms swimming, people, right? So that's another good plus about our red grapes and hence, our resveratrol. All right. Now, when we talk about some other foods, well, we were talking about, healthy fat foods and lean meats, right? And we talked about lean pork chops and venison. But we have other foods such as salmon, right? Salmon is fantastic, just full of vitamins and minerals. It's just incredible for you. I mean, I have salmon all the time, and I feel pretty great. But, wild salmon, of course, is what we go for. But aside from salmon, other fish as well, of course, right? Those good lean meats with high, healthy fat content in unsaturated fats, right? Of course. We have other lean meats like beef liver, for example. Now, why do I mention these in particular? These few? Well, there are many. But these few have been shown to increase testosterone levels because they contain a lot of vitamin D. All right? And vitamin D itself has been shown to increase testosterone levels by up to 90%. And that is because vitamin D decreases our levels of sex hormone binding globulin. And if you were with us throughout our discussion on testosterone here in When Wellness for the past few days, we talked about how we have these blood plasma proteins like sex hormone binding globulin or albumin that will bind to testosterone, and this bound testosterone is not active. Okay, we need it. It's a reservoir for testosterone, sure, and it makes up the majority of our testosterone, the vast majority in our body. But that free, unbound testosterone is what is getting to the tissues, binding those cell surface receptors, and having its intracellular effects on gene regulation, right? So hence, promoting the effects of testosterone, right? So if vitamin D inhibits, again, sex hormone binding globulin, well, that means we're going to have more free, unbound testosterone. And another thing, a food that gives us more free, unbound testosterone is spinach. So just another reason spinach is great for you guys. Not to mention it's high in antioxidants, right? Among many, many other things. So what else do we got? Egg yolks are another food that could boost testosterone levels because egg yolks contain cholesterol, and cholesterol is a precursor for testosterone, right? We've talked about how luteinizing hormone goes from the anterior pituitary gland, travels through the blood to the testes, where it promotes the conversion of cholesterol into testosterone via the action of Leydig cells, right? And so if we have more cholesterol, healthy cholesterol, we generally have better chances of producing more testosterone, all right? So on top of that, garlic has been shown to decrease cortisol levels, which is, again, the sex hormone. And cortisol, we just talked about it with sleep and, a lack of sleep and high anxiety promoting cortisol production, right? Or again, stress hormone. The name precedes it. And it opposes testosterone, right? In the sense that it competes for binding sites on cell surface receptors with testosterone, hence preventing testosterone binding. So garlic's a good thing for that, all right? Cabbage is another one because cabbage has been shown to decrease estrogen levels. So, right, the two, again, inversely related, estrogen and testosterone. Right? So cabbage is good too. Right? Another one we got is ginger, for example. And ginger has been shown to boost testosterone levels. And even ginger root is used as a pre-workout a lot, boosting energy levels. Right? So ginger is some good stuff. All right? And, we've talked about Panax ginseng, we've talked about Alpinia galangia root, right? We talked about some members of the ginger family for their nootropic effects as well, or we should say cognitive enhancing effects, all right? So that's all we got for you today. Tomorrow we're going to talk about testosterone and women, All right, we're going to devote one day to that because we haven't given you ladies your fair share of airtime here in terms of what testosterone does in your body and what a deficiency can do. All right, because again, it is important as well for females to maintain healthy levels of testosterone. So, who do we got today? Let's see who's on here. Alex, what's up, baby? How you doing, Frenchie? Good to see you on here, my man. Good to see you on here. You already knew all that stuff, but I hope you thought it was cool. Gino, what's up, baby? How you doing, my brother? Thanks for hopping on. Mel, how you doing? Thank you for tuning in. Hope you got something out of it. And Dominique, what's up, girl? How you doing? Thanks for hopping on. I'm going to see you soon, all right? We'll see. Maybe me and Johnny kick it one day or who knows what, all right? But I'll see you soon, and thanks for tuning in. I hope you got something out of this as well, all right? You guys have a fantastic rest of your night. We'll see you tomorrow, and happy Wellness, you guys. Have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much.